Joining us now is Michael Bociurkiw. He's a global affairs analyst and the former spokesperson for the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. Michael, thanks so much for being here. You probably just heard the president's comments there. How do you describe the state of play right now, this hour, between the tension of Russia and Ukraine?
Good to be with you, Alisyn. Well, I had to pinch myself this morning listening to that UN Security Council session. This was Cold War rhetoric that the Russians were putting out, a lot of tit for tat. Diplomatic theatrics does not get any better than this. But, and the Russians show no sign of relenting. They're accusing the West of pumping Ukraine with weapons, of destabilization. They're even denying that they have 100,000 troops on the borders. So clearly there's this deep diplomatic divide. Very, very interesting, Alisyn, to see the procedural vote take place. So, as you know, China and Russia blocked the vote, but they also got Gabon, Kenya, and India to abstain. And I should point out, I did a bit of gumshoe investigation this morning, and interesting that Gabon and Kenya have both either received or ordered Russian and Chinese vaccines. So you have vaccine diplomacy in the background working here too.
That's really interesting. That's a helpful, interesting perspective that you can provide. I mean, and yet we're told that, diplomacy continues. And so Secretary of State Blinken is meeting with his counterpart. They're still engaged in diplomacy. We just heard the president say they're engaging in nonstop diplomacy. They're working like the devil, I think I'm quoting him, to improve the security there. We know that Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who of course is beleaguered in the UK, he has his own issues, but he's supposed to be having a conversation with President Putin tomorrow, I believe. And so can there be other people that can talk Russia off the ledge with this? Will all of this diplomacy around Putin help?
Look, diplomacy is good. I think also the delay in a possible Russian incursion allows the Biden administration to do things like it did today, talk to partners like Qatar for possible LNG exports to Europe. But I think the only person at this point who could stop Putin is Xi Jinping of China. The two superpowers have been working much, much more closely together, aligning their interests, but also I think aligning their longer-term expansionist policies. In the case of China, of course, Taiwan, case of Russia, expanding its footprint there. The other thing I'm hoping that the West can sort out with Ukraine, as you know, last weekend, President Zelensky gave that bizarre press conference, and he had that call with Biden, where he basically accused the West of, ramping things up too much and causing chaos. I think the Ukrainians need to get on the same page with the West very, very quickly, because it also shocked the foreign journalists there. So,
but what was that? I mean, just out of curiosity, but what you're talking about with President Zelensky, I mean, one of the things he said was the image that mass media creates is that we have troops on the roads, we have mobilization, people are leaving for places. That's not the case. We don't need this panic. He's sort of blaming the media for being hyperbolic. Why is he not on the same page as the Biden administration in terms of their rhetoric?
Yeah, well, I guess I have to be careful what I said, because when Zelensky was elected, I was on CNN with Amber Walker saying how great this would be for Ukraine. But I think Zelensky has surrounded himself with people who are not very bright. That administration is not whatsoever a wartime administration, but he does have Foreign Minister Kuleba, who's very, very experienced. So he needs to get his act together very quickly, because this could cause ill will with allies who have given so much weaponry and so much resources, money to Ukraine. And unfortunately, Zelensky has also shown that he can be played by Vladimir Putin. That only happened a few months into his administration. So people in Ukraine, in the Ukrainian diaspora that I've talked to, are very, very worried about his capabilities right now.
Michael Bociurkiw, always interesting to talk to you. Thanks so much for the perspective.
Anytime. Thank you.